community organizer. I have been organizing now for over a decade. I'm currently working with community change in Washington, D.C., but I actually started my organizing career in congregational-based organizing in South Carolina, first in Charleston, and then later in Columbia, South Carolina, working with interfaith groups of churches, mosques, local synagogues, to come together, organize powerfully amongst themselves, and then to hold local officials accountable for fair practices and policies throughout the community. So today I'm going to talk to y'all a little bit about what it means to organize, what it means to do justice in faith communities, what congregational-based organizing is, and really why it's important, particularly as people of faith, that we do this work. So let me first talk a little bit more about why I do this work. So I grew up in Minnesota. I was raised by my mom with my two siblings. And really throughout my childhood, especially upon reflection now as an adult, I saw a lot of things that were just not right. The neighborhood that I grew up in, it was primarily a Section 8 neighborhood. And it was very visible, the kind of resources that our neighborhood received in comparison to more affluent areas, and in particular our schools. I even remember when I was in 5th grade, our school received deep cuts to its funding. A lot of the extracurricular activities were cut. A lot of the extra classes like language classes or art classes were cut. And my mom actually had to make the decision to get one of our friends in a more affluent neighborhood to put an electricity bill in our name so that we could get transferred and rezoned to another school. She had to go through all of these hoops to do that, figure out how to get transportation for all of us to schools in that area, get back across town to work, get back across town to her other work, right? She had to work 2 or 3 jobs at any given time throughout our childhood to be able to figure this out. And I just remember thinking that it was wildly unfair that we weren't able to go to the school just down the street simply because my mom wanted to ensure for us a proper education where we had the resources that we needed, that we had options, where we had a teacher that wasn't overwhelmed with double size the class that they could handle. Just seeing that those decisions that individual families had to jump through hoops and, upend their lives to get basic things that other families just take for granted, struck me as deeply unfair. And something that my mom really lifted up throughout our childhood was a commitment to equity and to community care and making sure that every family had what they needed to thrive. And so those values that she instilled in me, the values that I developed through these experiences really are core to who I've become as a person, but also to how I think about my call to do justice. And I would venture that a lot of the folks, even watching this video right now, share a lot of those values, right? A value for fairness, a value of community, right? Of living more deeply into who you believe God has called you to be. And so that values-based organizing is really a key piece of congregational organizing, right? Of why we as people of faith come together to build people power and to do justice. And so each of us has these values. Each of us has maybe a different experience of how we developed those values, different stories about the first time that we experienced injustice or the first time that we realized that, our community needed more than what it was receiving. But at the end of the day, all of us also have a biblical mandate to do this work.